Welcome to class, everyone. We're entering week 6, and what I'm going to do is just take a few minutes to review where we've been and where we're going. So we started classes reading and discussing how to construct learning strategies to meet the learning needs of our students at this point in time. And then we moved into discussing the value of a needs assessment, and then also looked at what that budgetary impact may be for this particular process. Next, we went and analyzed the application of learning theories and how they related to curriculum. Then from there, we focused on developing student learning course outcomes. And with those course outcomes, we looked at developing assessment methods and also expected levels of achievement for your online and your face-to-face learning, student active learning activities. Now this week, we're moving from curricular evaluation in classes to evaluation of programs. And I would really recommend that you focus on the end of program student learning outcomes, because that is going to make it a lot easier for your assignment next week, which will be your final assignment for the class. So what I want you to start thinking about is how you evaluate the end of program student learning outcomes that you developed in your own individual nursing programs. What do you expect your nursing students to know at the end of your nursing program? So when they finish your program, what is it that you want them to walk away with? And all accreditation bodies do require program evaluation. So then the question is, how do you prove that your learners are meeting the end of program student learning outcomes by the final course of your program? And if you're not familiar with student end of program outcomes, please spend a little extra time reviewing this for the nursing programs, and you can look at the nursing program accreditation standards. They may be helpful. But again, you can always contact me if you have questions, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions or even talk with you if you need to. So this will kind of bring us into your reading, which is chapter 14, and the focus is going to be on program evaluation and accreditation in nursing programs. So I do want to expand a little bit on these readings because, again, I believe you need a little bit of help to know where to focus for your assignment for next week. So you will see as you're doing your readings that there are end of program outcomes, and those end of program outcomes would be your graduation rates, your licensure and certification rates, and your job placement rates. They're identified as end of program outcomes in some of your accreditation standards. Then you're going to see another category, which is called the end of program student learning outcomes, and that's where I want you to focus right now. So these learning outcomes, end of program student learning outcomes, are leveled for each semester or each year of the nursing program, depending on how you do it. So I'm going to talk right now about an associate degree program that has 4 semesters. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm referring to when I refer to leveled student learning outcomes. So my end of program student learning outcome for a competency that I have that I expect my students to know is nursing judgment. And the way I'm going to write that particular end of program student learning outcome, so what I want them to know by the time they graduate from my program, is how to integrate various types of thinking required to implement the nursing process. And the way I'm going to evaluate that is I can evaluate that many different ways, and it's going to be up to you as to how you want to do it. You can evaluate it through a case study, a simulation activity. You can even have exam questions that could evaluate that. But then I also need to put together an ELA, or an expected level of achievement. And my ELA for this is going to be that 85% of my students will complete the case study exercise with a minimum grade of 90% on the case study rubric. So that's what my end of program student learning outcome is for nursing judgment. And that's how I'm going to evaluate it, and that's my ELA. Now, I mentioned that you're going to see a discussion in the accreditation standards about how these outcomes have to be leveled. So at level 1 or semester 1 of my associate degree nursing program, my outcome for nursing judgment is going to be that they're going to recognize various types of thinking required to implement the nursing process. Then when they get to the next semester, semester 2, they're going to be able to explain the various types of thinking required to implement the nursing process. And by the third semester, they're going to be able to apply various types of thinking required for the implementation of the nursing process. So you can see how I've used Bloom's taxonomy to help me with the leveling of this particular outcome that I have. So they're going to recognize it, they're going to explain it, they're going to apply it, and then they're going to integrate it, which is my end of program student learning outcome. But for each of those other levels, I still have to have assessments, and I still have to have expected levels of achievement. So this is just a little more information just to help to clarify some of this for those of you who are not in nursing academia, and to help you to see that you really do need to do a little bit of research to help you to get through these last this last assignment. So now the discussion question that you have this week is going to help you to move from course outcomes to program outcomes. You will analyze how your end of program student learning outcomes will help you to continually improve and assure accountability of your nursing program. So again, those of you not in nursing education who are not familiar with this, you can contact me or you can post your question in the course help link. If you remember, that course help link is right there on the web page, right underneath of the announcements link. So just post a question in there. I can answer it, or even some of your classmates can answer it for you to help you get an answer quicker if for some reason I'm not online, but then you can always email me too. So I hope that helps to describe or explain the difference between course outcomes and end of program student learning outcomes. Now, this week's readings and discussions are going to help you to prepare for next week, which is your final project, and that's listed as assignment 3, and we'll discuss a little bit more of that next week. But again, I just wanted you to start thinking about it so that you can be preparing. So this is our plan for week 6. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to reading your discussion post this week, and have a great week, everybody.